If you are addicted to gaming, start a business. Because you see, every time that you play video games, you will always find some energy to actually keep playing more, right? Like when you play video games, you don't stop because you're tired. You stop because you have other responsibilities to do. Like you stay up all night, even if you've lost all of the rounds of whatever game you're playing, and then you have the energy to like tell your friend, we can't end on a loss, right? Like you guys all know that feeling. But for some contrast, if you need to actually do something meaningful, like maybe study or like build a business, if you're already building a business, you'll find that you won't have energy to even push through 1 hour sometimes, right? Like when you wake up, you don't want to do it first thing in the morning, but when it comes to the weekends, right, you just want to play video games all day long, right? When it comes to playing video games, somehow, even if you're sleep deprived, even if you haven't eaten, or even if you're tired, you're the most tired that you've ever been, you'll still have that desire somewhere in you that actually wants you to play video games. Sometimes you don't, but sometimes you actually do, even if you're running on like 1% battery mode, right? And so that's exactly the type of grit and hunger that you need to have if you want to build $1 million business. Not saying that you have to, but it is one of the key traits that makes up a real successful entrepreneur. And so if you're addicted to video games, start a business. Now, you see, I was a professional Fortnite nerd back in like 2018 to around 2019, I feel like, before COVID. Now, I used to wake up at like 9 a.m. and then I would spend the entire day playing Fortnite with my friend, only going off when I need to go to the bathroom or I need to eat lunch. Or when my parents simply told me to like, hey, stop sitting on your chair. You need to eat to survive. Stuff like that. I was essentially borderline addicted. And funnily enough, to contrast that, today, I actually run a six-figure business, but I never quit that desire for video games. Like, I was able to build this business while still playing games. The only difference that changed is I was able to put some of my addiction to video games into business. And so, like, when it comes to me doing something meaningful with my life, like even outside of business, like exercising, doing my chores, eating well, stuff like that. Stuff that you need to have discipline for. Like people tell you need to have discipline for all of those. Nowadays, when I actually do those, it feels like a video game. Like every day, whenever I do something in my business, it feels like a video game because I level up. Every time that I work out, it feels like a video game because I level up. Every time that I eat food, it feels like a video game because I level up. Right? Now, that's very easy to say. And you've probably watched a few videos about like gamifying your life already. But you'll often find that it's very exciting for the first few days, and then after that, you go back to your old habits. And so the question arises, how do you actually make that feeling permanent, right? Because when it comes to video games, you can play for weeks on end, right? You never get tired of it. If you do get tired of it, you'll find some ways to actually not get tired of it. Maybe you'll start a new playthrough. Maybe you'll play with your friends. But when it comes to actually doing something meaningful with your life, or let's say, because in this video's topic about the business, when it comes to starting a business, you'll find that sometimes you'll go in through a slump, right? Even like in your first week or so, you'll get tired, right? And so, how do we actually fix that? Now, the framework that I'm about to teach you is kind of a researched back way to actually gamify your life. Because when everyone talks about gamifying your life, they'll tell you to like, oh, just reward yourself with good things after you do a hard thing, whatever. But there's actually a proven research when it comes to gamifying your life. And it's this book called The Octalysis Framework, right? Now, before I tell you that, here's a story from me on how I actually apply this in my business. So you see, a few years back, I watched a video from Iman Gatsi, right? If you've been in the online money making space online, you've probably seen Iman Gatsi, right? And he makes a lot of videos on like how to grow an SMMA business, how to make money online, yada yada yada. And so eventually, I looked into Iman Gatsi's stuff and I found a video about how to make money online. And I applied it through my own stuff, right? And I was so excited at the start because like it's this entire new thing, right? Like he sold me a new dream of how to make money online. And so I applied the strategies inside, and I was excited for like a few weeks even. Until after that, when I was not seeing results, even though I knew I shouldn't be seeing results that early, I started to get tired. And when I started to get tired, I started to not give the same amount of effort into the business that I was trying to build, right? And so I started doing less outreach. I started to post less stuff, right? And so after that, yeah, eventually closed the business because, well, I wasn't seeing any results with it, and so I quit it. But today, this business that I'm running now, it's actually the opposite. Every time that I'm having a bad month, I actually stick through it. And here's why. So when it comes to gamifying your life, again, like the Octalysis framework, I'll go over the 8 steps in a bit. When it comes to gamifying your life, you need to remember that what you actually need to start with before anything is something that you should enjoy doing, right? And so like when it comes to playing video games, for example, if you play video games and it gets hard, that's when you'll actually start to feel like you want to train more or like you want to practice more to actually get better at the game, right? Maybe you want to beat your friend. Maybe you want to simply get more gold or like get more level up, stuff like that. Now, in the Octalysis framework, there's basically like 8 core drives on what makes video games so fun. As you can see from the screen. So there's like epic meaning, empowerment, social influence, unpredictability, avoidance, scarcity, ownership, accomplishment. So you need to have all 8 of those if you actually want to gamify your business. And so what I want you to do when you build your business is to answer every single thing here to see if what you're doing right now is actually fit to be gamified. Because if it's not even fit to be gamified, then no matter how try you to like gamify your business or try to make it fun, it will never be fun, right? Because it doesn't have the 8 core drives. And so like when it comes to the epic meaning, for example, you can ask yourself, so why are you exactly building this business? Like what's the reason behind building this business? Do you have a deeper purpose rather than just like making money online so you don't go to college, right? Like is there a deeper reason than that? Maybe you want to retire your parents. Maybe you want to like live somewhere else. Maybe you want to move out of your hometown. Stuff like that. Like think of like deeper meanings rather than just like the vanity metrics, like right, like money or growing a big social media following or whatever, right? The second thing is accomplishment. Now think of every time that you're playing a video game. Sometimes you have went through every single thing in the game. Like for example in Minecraft, you killed the Ender Dragon, you have like 2 stacks of diamonds, and you now have everything, right? um what do you do now because you have everything? Well, you kind of reach for accomplishments, right? Like maybe you could go through the game's advancement or like the game's achievements, right? That's very common. Or sometimes you could even build stuff to like feel accomplished, right? And so with this business, it's not more about like worrying about the results. Like obviously those are accomplishment. Instead, you need to think of accomplishments of like what you're actually building in the business. So like for me, I feel accomplished whenever I post videos that I've always wanted to post about on my YouTube channel. I feel accomplished whenever I start to actually build programs for my clients, stuff like that. Like you need to have that sense of accomplishment in every single area of your business, right? Like on the flip side, if you're building a business that takes forever for you to get started or like to get that momentum going, then accomplishment will take ages for you, right? Like you will not see development if you don't have accomplishments set, right? And so before anything, you need to set goals that you will actually accomplish, right? Like that's one of the things that makes games fun. The games, they set the accomplishments for you, and that's why they're so addictive. But in real life, you have to set them yourself, right? Because you are the game developer here. And now the second thing is creativity. Now, if you've ever played a Souls game like Elden Ring, you'll find that some bosses are simply too damn hard to beat on the first try, right? Sometimes you'll beat him on like the second try, or sometimes you'll beat him like the 40th try, right? But like with everything that you have done, you keep trying and trying and over again, right? Because, well, you want to find out a way to beat him, right? And so in business, it's kind of the same. Like you have to realize whatever you're doing in business, if it's hard, think of it as like a soul's boss, right? Like you have to keep doing the same things over and over again until you actually beat the boss, right? Or in business, the task. So like in Souls, it's so fun because you keep like trying out new things and each time you become better, right? And so in business, you need to have that same growth mindset. Every time that you're met with like a setback or a failure, you need to actually learn from that and then do it better the next time, right? Like whenever I teach my clients, I just tell them, hey, so what have we learned from that last DM? What have we learned from not closing that deal on that sales call, right? And so when I ask them stuff like that, it makes them so much more better on the next try rather than just telling them, hey, it happens, keep it up. Instead, I tell them, hey, what have we learned? Because we can always improve next time. And this is exactly why I've been able to get my clients these great results compared to like other programs because, well, I don't leave them hang. I tell them directly, hey, what can we actually improve on from our last call, for example. And so that's the third thing. You need to have like that sense of creativity feedback to actually keep going, right? You need to have that growth mindset. Now, the fourth thing is ownership or like possession in general. Now, this is where having a personal brand actually shines. Because when you have a personal brand, everything is kind of owned by you, obviously. When you're starting a business, obviously you own the business, right? But when it comes to a personal brand, the feeling is more apparent there because, well, you're posting out with your real face, with your real name, and with your real everything out there, right? And so like the ownership aspect is way better. And so like, if you guys don't have a personal brand yet, I would recommend that you start one. I have a guide here somewhere here. I'm not a YouTuber. You can click that and it would show you how to build a personal brand. But essentially, if you have a personal brand, then not only will you motivated to improve your business because of purely business reasons, you would also be motivated to improve your business because of your personal ties with the business, right? And sure, like for some people, that's pressure because, well, they don't want to show themselves to the world. But for some people, that can actually be a good thing, right? Because like it's the type of good pressure that actually pushes you to improve yourself, right? Not only will your business improve, but your personal side will also improve because you have to show yourself in the best light out there, right? Like you don't want to show people bad advice. You don't want to show people that you're not disciplined, stuff like that. And so like this sense of ownership is really great and 10 times better when you have a personal brand. Now, the fifth thing is like social acceptance or like social influence in general. Now, when it comes to social influence, you will benefit from it again if you have a personal brand, obviously, because you're not connecting with just businesses, you're connecting with people too, right? And so like when it comes to building up this social thing, when it comes to like gamifying your business, what you need to do is to actually um hit up some people that are in the same space as you. Like I remember when I started out my personal brand on X, I had like 3 friends that I messaged every single day and checked up on their progress. Um because like that kept me accountable. That gave me the feeling of like I was in the game with them, right? Like how games are instantly so much more fun when you're with your friends, right? Or how much productive you are or how much competitive you get when you actually want to beat that game. I mean, if you want to beat that friend in a game that you've always wanted to beat him at, right? So like I would recommend that you hit up at least like 3 friends or like 3 strangers online if you don't have friends doing business with you, and just tell them, hey, so I'm at a similar stage as you. I want to keep us both accountable, and I want to actually grow with you, right? And so you could simply send them something like that, and then make a group chat, and then update each other every single day. I've done that when I was a complete beginner, and trust me, it's one of the best things because not only will you guys keep each other accountable, but you will also will be learning from each other. So the sixth thing is actually not more about you, but more about your business. It can be about you, but it will be more about your business. And I'll tell you why. So when it comes to building up scarcity and urgency in your business, you need to make your personal brand or your offers in general feel more premium, right? Like don't make them available to everyone and don't make them available forever, right? And so like in games, maybe you'll buy a skin or whatever. simply because it's a limited edition skin, or like it'll stop going for sale soon, right? Like, Fortnite skins. If you've ever played Fortnite, some skins there, like the Renegade Trooper or whatever, they're pretty expensive because, well, they're skins of like season one, right? Or like when the game first started, and then you can't get them now. Also, it's similar to scarcity in business. Whenever you're doing marketing, you need to make your product feel premium in a sense that is also like the Renegade Trader, right? Like not a lot of people can get it, and so that's exactly why it's priced that way. So the seventh thing is unpredictability. Now, this is one of the core drives that you actually won't need to learn, but it is something that happens naturally whenever you're starting out something new. And so, like, whenever you play video games, for example, you'll find that you simply want to keep playing simply because you want to learn more about the story, right? If you're playing story-based video games. So it's similar with business. Whenever you try out something new, at some point, you'll just want to keep going simply because of you being interested in like what happens next, right? But if you've lost that feeling, then you probably need more creativity in the business, right? And what I mean by that is you could simply find more resources online to learn from and people to learn strategies from so you can actually keep making your brain productive, right? Like part of what makes us keep going is our brain's internal motivation to keep making us like more excited, right? Like, and whenever we anticipate something and we believe it to be good, our brain gives us dopamine to actually be motivated about it, right? And so, like, if you are starting a business and you are motivated right now, but you found that eventually, you started to get bored or you started to lose that spark in you. It's probably because, well, one, you have predicted every single thing that might happen, and two, you've lost that sense of creativity, right? And so to fix that, try to find new insights or new perspectives from other people. Maybe like the reason why you're not productive right now is because you think that growing from A to Z is this boring path that everyone tells you about, right? Maybe you think you need to send cold DMs. Maybe you think you need to build a huge audience to get started, right? Like in absolute terms, you don't have to do all of that to actually build a personal brand because, well, I've done it myself without all of that, and we've scaled to 20K a month just a few months ago, right? So that's the seventh thing. Now, the last thing is all about loss and avoidance. This is more apparent if you actually build a personal brand because like you keep yourself accountable with a personal brand. If you're hiding behind a faceless business, for example, then you're hiding behind your business. But when a personal brand, it's much more like authentic and much more raw. And so you don't want to fail in front of like hundreds or even thousands of people following you, right? And so like the strategy that I wanted to do for this is build in public again, right? Like document your goals with this business, like how much revenue you want to hit by the end of the year, for example. Document how you plan to get there, and with each step of the way, document your wins, your lessons, and even your losses, right? Because if you document all of those, then you will actually start to hold yourself accountable. Like you don't want your feed to be all losses, right? You want it to be wins. And so your brain will naturally find ways for you to keep being productive. And so that way you won't actually lose, right? And it's one of the best things that I have learned when it comes to building a personal brand because your brain naturally teaches you how to win better so you don't feel that shame when you actually build your audience, right? Again, this is sort of pressure, but it's the good type of pressure, right? So those are the eight things when it comes to gamifying your business, right? Like everyone talks about gamifying your life, but no one really talks about how to gamify your business, right? And so if you're genuinely addicted to video games today, I would recommend that you start a business or at least try it out for a bit, right? Like I used to hate that feeling of playing video games and at in the middle of the game I would feel that sense of dread that I wasn't doing anything productive with my life, feels like a flashbang. Um, like all of a sudden you're playing video games, then you hop on the loading screen and you remember that you're broke, you don't have things going on in your life, you have 10 assignments over to, I always had that feeling when I played video games, but now I don't. I play it freely because I play my video games together with my business, and both of them feel like an addiction, a good one. So if you're still watching this video, there's a guide here on how to actually start a personal brand and how to actually build it the way that I just talked to you guys about today. So I would click the link somewhere here. But yeah, for now, this is it for me today, and I'll see you guys on my next video. All right, guys, see you soon.